Hey guys, in this video we are going to be making a poncho that will fit a 4 to 5-year-old child. To make this poncho we will be using a number 4 medium weight yarn and a 6mm hook. To get started with this poncho we are going to start with a magic ring, and if you need to see how to do this or anything else in this video with a closer look, then I will put links for those in the description box below. So off of our magic ring, we are going to chain 3, which counts as the first double crochet, and then we are going to go on to work 13 more double crochets around the magic ring for a total of 14 double crochets around the magic ring, again including the beginning chain 3. So go on to double crochet 14 double crochets all together around this magic ring. When you have 14 double crochets around the magic ring, including the beginning chain 3, you can then pull the circle closed, and then we are going to slip stitch into the third chain of the beginning 3 to finish this first round. And again, you should have 14 double crochets, including the beginning chain 3. For the second round, we again are going to start with a chain of 3, which does count as a double crochet, and we are going to work another double crochet into this first stitch for 2 double crochets in this first stitch. And then we are going to work 2 double crochets in the next stitch and 2 double crochets in each stitch all the way around this round. So again, go on to work 2 double crochets into each stitch all the way around. When you have worked 2 double crochets in each stitch all the way around, and you have made it back to the beginning of the round, we are then going to slip stitch into the third chain of the beginning 3, and for this round you should have 28 double crochets, including this beginning chain 3. For the third round, we are going to start with a chain of 4, which counts as a double crochet and a chain 1, and then we are going to double crochet into the very next stitch. We will then chain 1, and again double crochet into the very next stitch, and repeat that all the way around, again by chaining 1 and double crocheting into the next stitch. And again repeat that all the way around by chaining 1 and double crocheting into the next stitch, and repeat that all the way around. When you have double crocheted into the last stitch of the round, we will then chain 1 more and slip stitch into the third chain of the beginning 4 from the beginning of this round. And at the end of this round, you should have 28 double crochets and 28 chain 1 spaces. For the fourth round, we are going to slip stitch into this first chain space, and again slip stitch into that space so that we are starting in that space, and then chain 2, which counts as a double crochet with the last loop on the hook, and we are going to start 2 more double crochets, leaving the last loop on the hook of both in this same chain 1 space. And then we are going to bring all 3 stitches together for 1 3 double crochet cluster. Then we are going to chain 1 and work a 3 double crochet cluster in the next chain 1 space by starting 3 double crochets and leaving the last loop of each on the hook, and then bringing them all together again for 1 3 double crochet cluster, then chain 1 and work a 3 double crochet cluster in the next chain 1 space, and repeat this all the way around. When you have worked 1 3 double crochet cluster in each chain 1 space all the way around, your work will try to curl up a little bit, but if you lay your work flat and flatten it out, it will work itself out. And again, when you have worked 1 3 double crochet cluster all the way around with 1 chain 1 in between each one, we will then end off with a chain 1 and slip stitch into the top of the first 3 double crochet cluster, and that is the end of round 4, and you should have 28 3 double crochet clusters and 28 chain 1 spaces. For the 5th round, we are going to slip stitch into this next chain 1 space. So again, slip stitch into that space, so that's where we are starting from. And then we are going to start with a chain of 4, which counts as a double crochet and a chain 1. And then we are going to double crochet into the same chain space, and that is 1 V-stitch. So then we are going to work 1 V-stitch in the next chain 1 space by double crocheting into that space, chaining 1, and double crocheting into the same chain 1 space. And we are going to V-stitch into each chain 1 space all the way around. So again, double crochet into the next chain 1 space, chain 1, and double crochet into the same chain 1 space, and do this all the way around. When you have worked a V-stitch in each chain 1 space all the way around that round, again, your work may be trying to curl up, but just flatten that out, and then slip stitch into the 3rd chain of the beginning 4 from the beginning of this round. And at the end of this round, you should have 28 V-stitches at the end of round 5. For round 6, we are going to start by slip stitching into this first chain 1 space, and then we are going to start with 1 3 double crochet cluster. So start with a chain of 2, which counts as a double crochet with the last loop on the hook. Then start 2 more double crochets, leaving the last loop of both on the hook, and bring all 3 of those stitches together for 1 3 double crochet cluster. And then we are going to chain 4, and then work 1 more 3 double crochet cluster in this same chain space. So start 3 double crochets, leaving the last loop of each stitch on the hook, and then bringing them all together. And we should have 1 3 double crochet cluster, a chain 4, and then another 3 double crochet cluster, all in the same stitch. We are then going to go on to chain 4, and we are going to skip 1 chain 1 space, and then single crochet around the next chain 1 space, just like that. And then we are going to chain 2 and single crochet around the next chain 1 space, and repeat that 2 more times, again by chaining 2 and single crocheting around the next chain 1 space, and repeat that 1 more time, chain 2, single crochet around the next chain 1 space. And at this point you should have 4 single crochets. We are then going to go on to chain 4, skip a chain 1 space, and then work a 3 double crochet cluster around the next chain 1 space. So start 3 double crochets, leaving the last loop on the hook of all stitches, and bring them together. And then we are going to chain 4 and work a 3 double crochet cluster in the same chain 1 space. So again, work 3 double crochets, leaving the last loop of each on the hook, and bring them all together. And that is 2 corners for this round, the first being this, and the second corner being this one. And we are now going to go on to repeat this all the way around, again by chaining 4, skipping a chain 1 space, and single crocheting around the next chain 1 space, chaining 2, and single crocheting around the next chain 1 space, and repeating that 2 times, then chaining 4, skipping a chain 1 space, and working a 3 double crochet cluster, a chain 4, and a 3 double crochet cluster in the same stitch. And repeat that all the way around until you have 4 corners, and we will finish off the row together. When you have all 4 corners worked, we are then going to continue on doing the same thing that we have for the other 3 sides for this last side. So again, we will chain 4, skip a chain 1, and single crochet around the next chain 1 space, chain 2, single crochet around the next chain 1 space, chain 2, single crochet around the next chain 1 space, and do that one more time, and by chaining 2 and single crocheting around the next chain 1 space, and then chain 4, skip the last chain 1 space, and slip stitch into the top of the beginning 3 double crochet cluster. And that is the end of round 6, and at the end of this round you should have 8 3 double crochet clusters, 12 chain 4 spaces, 16 single crochets, and 12 chain 2 spaces. For round 7, we are going to slip stitch into this chain 4 space, and we're going to start with the chain of 3, which counts as a double crochet, and we're going to work 2 more double crochets around this same chain 4 space, and then we are going to chain 3 and work 3 more double crochets around this same chain space. So we will then have 6 double crochets around the same chain space with a chain 3 in the middle. We are then going to go on to work 4 half double crochets around the next chain 4 space. So again, work 4 half double crochets around that chain space, and then we are going to work 3 single crochets around the next 3 chain 2 spaces. So again, work 3 single crochets around these 3 chain 2 spaces. When you have 3 single crochets around each of those chain 2 spaces, we are then going to work 4 half double crochets around this next chain 4 space, just like we did on the other side. Again, working 4 half double crochets around that chain space, and then work 3 double crochets around the next chain 4 space, which is the corner chain 4. Again, 3 double crochets, then chain 3, and work 3 more double crochets around the same chain 4 space. And we are going to repeat that all the way around this round. Again, going on to work 4 half double crochets around the next chain 4 space, then 3 single crochets around the next 3 chain 2 spaces, then working 4 half double crochets around the next chain 4 space, then 3 double crochets, a chain 3, and 3 more double crochets around the corner chain 4 space, and repeat this all the way around this round. When you have worked that all the way around, you should end with 4 half double crochets around the last chain 4 space, and then we are going to slip stitch into the 3rd chain of the beginning 3, and that is the end of round 7. And at the end of that round, you should have 24 double crochets and half double crochets and 36 single crochets. You should also have 4 chain 3 spaces. For round 8, we are going to start with a chain of 2, which does not count as a stitch, and then we are going to double crochet into the same first stitch, And then we're going to work 1 double crochet in the next 2 stitches, which brings us to the chain 3 for the corner. And in this chain 3 space, we are going to work 6 double crochets. So again, work 6 double crochets around this chain 3 space. When you have those 6 double crochets in the chain 3 space for the corner, you will then go on to work 1 double crochet in the next 23 stitches until you get to the next chain 3 space for the next corner. So again, work 1 double crochet in the next 23 stitches until you get to the next corner where there is this chain 3 space. When you've come to the next chain 3 space for the corner, we will then again work 6 double crochets around this chain 3 space. And when you have worked these 6 double crochets, we will then go on to work 1 double crochet in the next 23 stitches until you come to the next corner, where you will do the same thing, and you will repeat this all the way around this round. When you have worked that all the way around that round, we will then slip stitch into the top of the beginning double crochet of the round to finish off round 8. And at the end of this round, you should have 116 double crochets. For the next round, round 9, this will be the last round of this square. So we are going to start with a chain of 2, which does not count as a stitch, and we are going to double crochet into the same first stitch, and then we are going to work 1 double crochet in the next 3 stitches. Again, 1 double crochet in the next 3 stitches, and then we are going to work 2 double crochets in the next 4 stitches. So work 2 double crochets in the next 4 stitches, and this is the 4 stitches of the very corner. When you have worked 2 stitches in those 4 stitches, we will then go on to work 1 double crochet in the next 25 stitches. So again, work 1 double crochet in the next 25 stitches. When you have worked 1 double crochet in those 25 stitches, we then again are going to work 2 double crochets in the next 4 stitches. And again, these are the 4 stitches for the very corner. So work 2 double crochets in these 4 stitches. And when you have all of those worked, we will then work 1 double crochet in the next 25 stitches and repeat this all the way around this round. When you have worked that all the way around, we will then slip stitch into the top of the beginning double crochet of the round, and that was the end of round 9. And you should have 132 double crochets all the way around that round. And that was the last round of this square. So we will now finish this off and weave in all of our ends. And you will want to make 5 more squares exactly like this for a total of 6 squares altogether. When you have all 6 of your squares for your poncho made, you will want to pick which 4 squares you want to use for the body of the poncho and the 2 squares that you would like to use for the hood of the poncho. When you have figured out which 4 squares you want to use for the body of the poncho, you will then want to lay them out in this pattern, this square being the front of the poncho and the top square being the back of the poncho. You will then want to start sewing the sides that are connecting together. So you'll want to take this first square and flip it on top of the second square like this, and sew these two sides together. Then unfold that and fold this third square on top of the second square and sew these two sides together. Then unfold that and flip this fourth square on top of the third square and sew these two sides together. When you have sewn all of these sides together, we will then take this back square and fold it so that the front is facing this front square, and so that this square is folded in half. And then we will take this last square and fold it in half also, and then sew these two open sides together. When you have the body of the poncho completely sewn together, you will want to leave it inside out until we have the hood completely done. And to work the hood, you'll want to take your last two squares, and we are going to sew just two of the sides together. So you'll want to make the fronts of the squares face each other, and then again sew just two of the connecting sides together. When you have sewn your hood together and you have the two sides closed and two sides open and it is still inside out, we will then connect it to the body of our poncho, which will still also be inside out. And then we are going to take our hood where it connects at the bottom on whichever side you would like. And the way I like to connect my hood to the body of my poncho is I like to connect this crease with the crease or the 3 square connection on the back of the poncho. So again, I like to line those up and start there. That way I know it will match up nicely. And then sew this side together with the top of the body of the poncho to the bottom of the hood and finish that off. And then come back to this back connection and do the same thing to the other side. Sewing the bottom of the hood to the top of the poncho. Of course, once I get all the way to the front, I will then again finish off my work, and my hood will be connected to the body of my poncho. You can connect yours going from the front all the way around to the other side on the front if you would like. It is up to you, but at this point you will want to connect the hood to the body of the poncho. When you have sewn everything together, we are then going to work a border around the bottom outside of the poncho and around the inside of the hood. I am going to start with the border around the bottom outside of the poncho, and we are going to work with our work right side out now, and this is also with the poncho upside down, so that we again are working on the right side of our work. So to start with this border, we are going to start with a loop on our hook, and you are going to want to pick a stitch on the back of your poncho wherever you would like, and we are going to slip stitch into that stitch. So again, slip stitch into that stitch, and then we are going to chain 1 and single crochet 1 time into the same stitch, and single crochet 1 time in each stitch until you come to where 2 squares are sewn together. When you have come to our 2 squares are sewn together, we are then going to bring these 2 stitches that were the last stitches that were sewn together. We are going to bring them together in 1, 2 single crochet together. So insert your hook into the first stitch and bring up a loop, and insert your hook into the second and bring up a loop, and bring them both together in 1, 2 single crochet together. Then continue working 1 single crochet in each stitch until you come to the bottom point of the poncho. When you have come to the bottom tip of the poncho, and you have come to these 4 stitches where we have 2 double crochets in each stitch, we are going to continue working 1 single crochet in each stitch until we come to the very 2 middle stitches of those 8. So the 4th and 5th of those 8 stitches. And in those 2 very middle stitches, we are going to work 2 single crochets. So again, in the 4th and 5th stitch of those 8, we're going to work 2 single crochets. And then we are going to continue working 1 single crochet in each stitch until you come to the next point where 2 squares are connected, where you will work it the same way as we did the last one, and continue this all the way around until you come to the beginning single crochet of this border. When you have worked that all the way around this border and you have made it back to the beginning single crochet, we will then slip stitch into the top of that beginning single crochet, and you can now go on to work as many of these rounds as you would like. So again, you will want to chain 1 and single crochet into the same first stitch and work 1 single crochet into each stitch until you come to the very tip bottom corner of the poncho where we added 2 stitches in the very middle stitches, and you will want to continue doing that for each round that you work around this border. So again, for each round around the border that you decide to work, you will want to start with the chain 1 and single crochet into the same stitch in each stitch all the way around, adding 2 stitches in the very middle stitches of the bottom corner of the poncho, and continuing working 1 single crochet in each stitch all the way around until you come back to the beginning single crochet, or you will slip stitch into the top of that beginning single crochet. And again, you can go on to do that around the bottom of your poncho as many times as you would like. When you have finished the border around the bottom, we are then going to basically do the same thing around the border of the hood. So we again are going to start with a loop on our hook and slip stitch into a stitch around the border of the hood. Again, slip stitch into whichever stitch you would like. And then we are going to chain 1 and work a single crochet into the same stitch and work 1 single crochet until you come to where the hood attaches to the body in the front. When you have come to the front, where the hood attaches to the front of the body of the poncho, you can work this however you want and to get the look however you want. I am personally going to bring these first 2 stitches together in 1, 2 single crochet together by starting a single crochet in both stitches and then bringing them together. Then I am going to work 1 single crochet in this very middle stitch, and then I am going to bring these last 2 together in 1, 2 single crochet together, again by starting a single crochet in both stitches and then bringing them together. And then I'm going to continue working 1 single crochet in each stitch until I come to the top of the hood where the 2 squares are sewn together. And here I am going to work it the same way as I did on the body, on the border around the bottom of the body of the poncho, and then continue working 1 single crochet in each stitch until you come back to the beginning single crochet. When you get all the way around the border of the hood and you have come back to the beginning single crochet, you will then slip stitch into the top of that beginning single crochet, and then you will want to work at least 1 more border around this border on the hood. So you'll want to chain 1 and single crochet into the same first stitch and work 1 single crochet into each stitch all the way around this hood. And again, I am going to go on to do this just one more time for one more round around the hood. You can go on to make however many more rounds around the hood that you would like, but after this round you will want to continue bringing a few stitches together here in this bottom dip to continue having this dip curve in like it is and not have your hood come out at a weird angle. So again, I'm going to go on to work 1 single crochet in each stitch all the way around the hood for one more round. If you would like to work more than these 2 rounds around the hood, you'll want to continue bringing a few stitches together here in this bottom dip to continue this same look. The last thing that we are going to do for this poncho is add fringe to the bottom. I have added 4-inch fringe, which means I started out with 8-inch pieces of yarn. I am going to put 2 pieces in every other stitch all the way around, and you can make your fringe longer or shorter if you would like, and add more or less, again, however you would like to make your fringe. So to add our fringe, we are going to take our 2 pieces of yarn and line them up at the bottom and place them together so that we have this loop. Then insert your hook in the stitch that you would like to put your fringe into. Hook it on your hook, pull it through the stitch, and then pull the ends of the yarn through the loop and pull that tight. And you will want to do that in every stitch that you would like to add fringe in all the way around. When you have added your fringe all the way around, you will see that it is not exactly straight across the bottom, so you can give your fringe a little haircut to even it out if you would like to give it that uniform look. And that's all there is to it. So I hope that that was helpful and enjoyable for you. If it was, please hit that sub, like, and bell button and leave me a comment to tell me what you think. I hope that you guys go on to create many more amazing things. And until next time, guys, I'll see ya.